Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. Time for the 30-game progress report for the Utah Hockey Club, who are 6-2-2 in their last 10 games. Unbelievable. What a great stretch of hockey for Utah. Their first 10 games, they were 4-4-2. The next 10, 4-5-1. So definitely just a vast improvement in pretty much every single category. They stand at 14, 11, and 5, good for 17th in total points. Points percentage has increased. They're now at 16th place in the league. And who makes the playoffs? The top 16 teams in the league. Usually around 600, 650 is where you're probably guaranteed to push your ticket in for the playoffs. Goals for per game, it's up almost a quarter per game at 3.03. As long as your goals for per game is above 3, that's a great stat. It's good for 17th in the league. Goals against, it has jumped. They were 22nd in the league at the 20-game mark. At the 30-game mark, they're 10th in the league in goals against per game, down almost again a quarter of a goal at 2.9. It could go lower, but under 3 is great for me as well. Power play was an issue as well. It's better. It's half in the league at 16th. It's up about 4%, 21.18%. I like that it's improving, but I'm still not completely sold on it. This team has a non-existent power play number 2, but not really sure if that matters because it seems like PP1 is on the ice for probably a minute and a half of a 2-minute power play. They put Cooley on power play number 1. Hayden is off both power plays. A head scratcher for me. At least he should be on power play number 2 with that net front presence. We'll talk about Hayden later, but as long as the power play is clicking enough to, sometimes it wins them games, sometimes it brings them back into a game. So it needs to click. I like that it's improving. It was a problem at the 20-game mark. Now I'm somewhat more comfortable, but again, not completely comfortable when they go in the power play. There's some power plays where they just look bad, but other power plays, they manage to get the goal. I like how they have very different options on that only power play number 1. You can go with the Sergachev walk in and shoot. You can go with the Gunther one-timer. You can go with the bumper between Keller, Cooley, and Schmaltz. Or you have Keller, who scored 2 of the same exact goals against Minnesota and almost the same type of goal against San Jose last night, where he holds on to it, waits for that perfect shot, and he's able to shoot it quickly and deceive goaltenders and get goals. So about 3 or 4 different plays they can use on that power play. Penalty killing, slightly improving as well at 78.50%, good for 21st in the league. Not a huge improvement from the 20-game mark. Save percentage is up a lot as well. It went from 21st in the league to 12th in the league. Vejmelka has given this team consistent high performances pretty much throughout the whole season. There's only one game where I feel he had a bad game, which was back in October, that first game against the Avalanche. I think they lost 5-1. One bad game in 30 games of Vejmelka, just so consistent. He really helped this team climb out of a hole they were digging themselves, and just a consistent great job by Karel Vejmelka. I'm sure if Ingram was a little bit better, for sure that save percentage would be above 900. Shooting percentage, it's back up. It was a little bit down considering Andre Tourigny and his teams are always like top 5 in the league. It's back up at 7th in the league at 11.2%. That was at 16th at the 20-game mark. Now they're all the way up to 7th. Shots on goal per game, at least they're not bottom in the league. Like shooting percentage, shots on goal per game, Tourigny has been consistent, but the other way, it's always bottom of the league. But 26, not bad. I'll take that. And shots against per game, they were 21st in the league. Now they're back up to 13th in the league. 28.2 shots against per game. It's down from about 1 shot per game from the 20-game mark. A bit concerning, or maybe I put too much stock in face-off numbers. They were first place in the league at the 10-game mark, third place in the league at the 20-game mark. Now they're all the way down to 14th place in face-off percentage, but they're winning games and playing better. So maybe face-offs don't even matter. But Kevin Stenlund is at 59-60% on the dot, which is miraculous. Barrett Hayden, 56%. That's great as well. But Bukestad and Cooley are about 45% on the face-off dot. So both of those players could improve as well. And hitting is down as well, about half a hit per game at around 16 hits per game. What I like about the past 10 games, no more line blending. That kind of stopped near the end of the 20-game report as well. I'm not sure why the coaching staff decided to blend those lines so often, because you need to build chemistry with your line mates. It needs to be instinctual. You can't overthink where your line mates are going to be because you have new line mates every game. Like, these are the lines. They should have never really blended them. I'm not sure when it was, maybe games like 11 to 25. They just blended every single line all the time. Now they're back where they were at the beginning of the season, and they've been riding these lines the past 10 or 12 games or so. And you can see they're so comfortable with each other on the ice. Everyone knows what to do. Even that fourth line of Carcone, Stenlund, and Kerfoot, they got their own chemistry as well. The only real slip up here is that third line of Krause, Michelli, and Bukestad. Zero offense from them. And we'll get to player statistics very soon. Penalties per game, I remember at the 20-game mark, the 10-game mark, discipline was a huge issue for this team. It is trending downwards, but they're still top 10 in minor penalties taken, but at least now they're at the 8th, 9th, 10th place spot. So I'm not really upset I'm not as upset as I was earlier in the season with the amount of penalties they were taking. Probably that's due to Maverick Lamoureux being injured, an unfortunate joke, but he was taking a lot of penalties. Now it's not really an issue. I don't see a player taking so many penalties all the time. And as a team, they're much more disciplined. Before we get to players, I also have a stat picture here. I'll pull it up. These stats were taken before the San Jose game Saturday night, but most of these stats are better after that San Jose game. So from the Pittsburgh game, November 23rd, to the game against the Avalanche on Thursday night, they were tied for first in road wins. Now they're probably first with that road win against San Jose. Second in goals and goal differential in the league. This is the whole league. So you know I'm not just glazing and being biased about this team. Like, they're really good the past 10 games, and comparing them to the rest of the league, they're in the top of a lot of categories. They're second in power play percentage in that time frame, third in road goals per game, tied for fourth in regulation wins. They won against San Jose, so that number's up to 6. So maybe they're top 3 now. They were 5th in penalty kill percentage at 85%, and tied for 5th in wins and points percentage. They got that win against San Jose, like I said, so that's an even better stat since November 23rd. So they're playing really good hockey. They've also only played 3 home games in the past 10 games, and they haven't won any of those. They're 0-2-1. Those 2 regulation losses against Dallas and Minnesota, that 1 overtime loss against Edmonton, those are 3 teams who are juggernauts in the league. What's concerning is, okay, their home record's not as great. It's at 4-5-3 on the season. Their road record is 10-6-2, which is great. They're on like a 6-game road game win streak, but now they're starting to head into the part of the season where they're going to play more home games than road games. In the month of January, they have 9 home games out of a total 14 games in the month of January. And even in late December, they got a lot more home games. So that's one glaring issue with this team. 4-5-3 at the Delta Center. That needs to be much better. And hopefully they could carry this road play style and momentum home to Salt Lake City. So let's get into the player stats. For the first time ever doing these progress report videos, Keller is not first place on the team. He's right there, but Dylan Guenther takes the crown, leads the team in goals, 13 goals, 16 assists, 29 points, pretty much a point per game player. He has 12 points in his last 12 games. Clayton Keller has 9 points in the past 10 games, still maintaining that point per game pace, which is all I expect from him, even though it's a high expectation. 10 goals, 18 assists, 28 points. He's shooting a lot more, which we've seen those 2 goals against Minnesota, and last night the game winner, 1 minute left in the game against San Jose. Logan Cooley, 12 points in his last 10 games. Such an underrated player. He's gobbling so many points, even though you don't see him score too often. He's always making plays and getting those assists. He had 2 great primary assists last night against San Jose. Those 2 saucer passes, one to Gunther and then the other one to Schmaltz on the power play. Great stuff by Cooley. Maybe we could see some more goals from him, but 26 points in 30 games played is a great achievement for Cooley. Nick Schmaltz, remember at the 20-game mark, he had 0 goals. Now he has 5 goals in the past 10 games, 9 points in the past 10 games. Good for Schmaltz, and great to see the defense represented in Mikhail Sergachev, 22 points in 30 games played for Sergachev. He's already surpassed last year's point totals with Tampa Bay in about 5 less games played, and he's already played more minutes than last season in 4 less games played. So he's averaging 3 minutes more on ice this season with Utah per game, 3 minutes more per game than last year against Tampa Bay. Great stuff by Sergachev, but there's a big drop off from 5th place to 6th place. Kessering holds a 6th place spot at 15 points, so that's a 7-point difference, which is unfortunate, and we need a lot more secondary scoring, especially by that third line. Michelli, 1 point in the past 10 games, 0 goals in the past 16 games. Lawson Krause, 3 points in the past 10 games, and you can stretch that to 3 points in the past 21 games. And Barrett Hayton, number 1 center, playing with these 2 high-flying players in Keller and Schmaltz, 4 points in the past 10 games, 0 goals in the past 19 games. So if this team wants to be better, that third line needs to contribute offensively. They're not a bad line. They do good things. They defend well. They have the puck a lot in the offensive zone, I found. Like, they're good offensively, holding possession in the zone, forechecking, battling. It's just they need to score. They need to execute. They need to contribute. They just got to find a way to contribute offensively to take the load off these top 2 lines. And Stenlund, 6 points, 4 goals in the past 10 games. He's been on fire, and great stuff by him last night against the Sharks. That great primary assist to Carcone to tie the game at 3 apiece. Then we go to goalie stats. Ingram did not play at all the past 10 games. It's been all Vejmelka, and Stauber's got 2 starts. Vejmelka, great, unbelievable goalie numbers. He's 8th in the league in goals against average at 2.4 and 10th in the league in save percentage at .915. And Stauber, we're seeing the emergence of Stauber. He's played 2 games, won both of them. Unbelievable, unsustainable goalie numbers, obviously, because he's only played 2 games. For me, moving forward, this team can't get too high, too positive. Yes, they're playing amazing. To be a playoff team, you need to do this all the time. This can't just be they had a great 10-game stretch, and then now we'll go back to mediocrity, up and down, up and down. Like, you're 6-2-2 in the last 10. You got to keep doing that consistently. This is what works. You just got to stick to it. That's what separates playoff teams from non-playoff teams. Sure, a rebuilding team could go on a 3 to 5 game win streak, but can you maintain that high level of play throughout? And this is going to be the test for Utah moving forward. They just got to keep this up. Some little problems here and there is the third line needs to contribute, but other than that, for me, it's all about consistency and sticking to it. And they're doing all this with so many injuries, like Ingram, Marino, Durzi, Lamoureux, Bertuzzo got injured as well. Not that he was contributing too much, but this team's rolling. Andre Tourney has done a great job the past 10 games. It's just about let's just keep going here. It would be very, very unfortunate, especially with all these home games coming up, to really fall out of this play style and fall back down into the standings. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. They have a huge game Wednesday night against the Vancouver Canucks, who Utah is 2 points behind. So that is a pure wild card playoff battle for that spot. Unfortunately, there will be no game reviews for that Vancouver and Minnesota game due to me traveling. So I did not disappear. If you don't see game reviews for those games, I'll try my best to at least watch those games. But that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.